Hello there, I'm Azaria Tagaya and this is Nightline. The top stories. 42nd ASEAN Summit succeeds in boosting regional cooperation, says Prime Minister. And Malaysia improves on Global Terrorism Index. Good morning. The 42nd ASEAN Summit was a meaningful one as member countries have succeeded in strengthening cooperation and solidified partnerships across the region. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said this included cooperation in the fields of economy, electric car ecosystem, conducting trade through the use of local currencies and inter-country digital payments, which would lead to a stronger ASEAN. According to Datuk Seri Anwar, the various forms of concrete cooperation reached proved that ASEAN was still strong, although certain quarters had the perception that the regional bloc was quite weak in tackling current challenges. On the Myanmar issue, he said the regional leaders had agreed to defend the 5-point consensus 5PCs principle in resolving the controversial and complicated conflict as well as managing humanitarian assistance.
Tetapi soal pendirian ASEAN tentang keperluan menghentikan keganasan itu keras. Tidak ada siapa yang berbeza pendapat. Saya tentunya mengambil pendirian yang agak lebih jelas kerana menangguhkan penyelesaian isu Myanmar ini akan membebankan negara jiran.
Datuk Seri Anwar said this to the Malaysian media at the end of the summit in Labuan Bajo, Indonesia, before departing for Malaysia on Thursday. He pointed out that ASEAN leaders also agreed to ensure that the ASEAN outlook on Indo-Pacific AOIP remains the main mechanism in managing relations among countries in the Indo-Pacific region. This as the AOIP is more balanced and gives priority to regional security, stability and prosperity, apart from promoting open, inclusive and more sustainable cooperation. The leaders have also agreed to consolidate their stand and defend the position of ASEAN as a free zone and avoid getting involved in big power rivalries. Datuk Seri Anwar said his call for the establishment of an Asian Monetary Fund to strengthen the region's economy and security network also received positive response from ASEAN heads of state. However, there was no special discussion on the proposal, which was still at the early stage. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Anwar is pleased with the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, BIMP, EAGA's significant achievements and resilience despite setbacks due to the prolonged impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. He also said member states have commended the steadfast commitment of BIMP EAGA tourism key players in revitalizing the industry through innovative solutions.
So I think BIM IAGA in that sense is quite critical for our to ensure a fair, just development and to reduce the gap between the richer areas and the poorer areas. Kita juga mengambil kira tentang ibu kota baru Nusantara di Kalimantan yang tentunya akan memperkukuh ekonomi rantau terutama Sabah Sarawak.
He added that sustainable energy resources are also recognized as a top priority and critical enabler of BIMP EAGA's clean energy transition, besides the pivotal role of information and communication technology in achieving a digital economy. Malaysia has improved its position by climbing up to the 75th spot in the 2022 Global Terrorism Index (GTI) compared to 68th place the previous year. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the country also reported only 2 arrests linked to terrorism-related activities in 2022.
Tahap keganasan dan penangkapan dilakukan tertinggi pada tahun 2016, di mana terdapat 126 mereka yang disyaki sebagai penganas ditangkap. Ianya menurun pada 107 pada tahun 2017 kerana beberapa tindakan pencegahan dan juga penguasaan oleh pihak PDRM dan juga Angkatan Tentera Malaysia dan juga beberapa langkah yang dilakukan oleh Majlis Keselamatan Negara.
Datuk Sri Zahid said this to the media at a press conference after chairing the High-Level Committee on Terrorism Control JPTKK meeting in Putrajaya on Thursday. He added that although the country has improved its position in the GTI, the government will not be complacent and would continue to remain vigilant, as well as enhance prevention and enforcement measures at all levels to ensure the safety of the nation. He also said that preventive measures must be taken to avoid the occurrence of violence due to differences in political beliefs, religious fanaticism and racism. In this regard, Datuk Sri Zahid said the Department of Islamic Development, JAKIM, has been asked to draw up a terrorism prevention education curriculum at the preschool, primary and secondary school levels, as well as higher education. Authorities, including the Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, have also been instructed to carry out continuous monitoring of terrorist activities on all social media platforms. Malaysia will meet with European Union EU leaders in Brussels, Belgium, to ensure that palm oil products exported to the EU will not be affected by the implementation of the European Union Deforestation-Free Regulation EUDR. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, who is also Plantation and Commodities Minister, said the engagement mission between Malaysia and EU leaders demonstrates the government's commitment to resolving any issues arising from palm oil.
Diharapkan kita akan dapat penjelasan yang lebih baik daripada mereka dan komitmen daripada mereka supaya Malaysia tidak akan orang kata diratingnya sebagai negara yang berisiko tinggi. Tidak sepatutnya berlaku sedemikian. Apatah lagi untuk pekebun kecil kita.
Datuk Sri Fadilah said this during his Aidilfitri open house in Putrajaya on Thursday. He also said industry players will participate in the important mission to find a solution to the palm oil issue so that no irresponsible actions are taken when the products are exported to the EU countries. According to him, the government has also established the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil MSPO certification scheme to ensure compliance with all global standards, especially environmental sustainability, as well as to prevent any further encroachment of permanent forest reserves. Indonesia will also participate in the mission following a meeting and discussion between its President Joko Widodo and Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim recently. Last Monday, Jokowi was reported to have said that the two countries should become partners to work together in the production of palm oil for the future of the commodity industry and to confront the current anti-palm oil lobby in the EU. The Pulau Pinang South Island PSI Reclamation project will be reduced to just a single man-made island, measuring about 930 hectares instead of the original plan of 3 islands with an area of 1,800 hectares. Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow said the decision was made in response to Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's request for the state government to scale down the project.
Kerajaan negeri menerima nasihat yang amat berhormat Perdana Menteri dan memutuskan tidak meneruskan tambakan Pulau B dan Pulau C. Ini bermakna bahawa skil asal 4,500 ekar telah dikurangkan kepada 2,300 ekar sahaja, iaitu Silicon Island. Ini bermaksud scale down sebanyak 49% daripada saiz yang asal.
Chow said this to the media at a press conference held at his office in Komta on Thursday. He added that the reclamation work for the first phase of Silicon Island, measuring 520 hectares, is expected to take 7 to 10 years to complete and would not have any impact to fishermen going out to sea. Overall, the development of Silicon Island, including topside development, will take 20 years. The PSI project initially involved the development of 3 artificial islands in the waters off Pematang Damar Laut near Bayan Lepas. However, the project received objections from the fishing community and environmental NGOs in the state, as it was alleged that the project would damage the marine ecosystem in the area. The Health Ministry and media practitioners need to work together closely to ensure up-to-date health-related information is successfully conveyed to the public. Its Minister, Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, said this is because the media plays a big role in making any initiative launched by the ministry successful.
Saya dah dengar taklimat daripada Media Prima dan kita dah nampak dah dekat mana kita boleh bekerjasama, bagaimana untuk kita bekerjasama, cara bagaimana kita nak bekerjasama, apa maklumat yang kita nak sampaikan khususnya dalam masa-masa yang terdekat, khususnya dengan dekat kita pun berhampir dengan parlimen dan sebagainya, sudah tentu banyak isu-isu dan kita akan bawa juga, contohnya kita akan bawa rang undang-undang, juga kertas putih yang kita akan bawa, kertas putih kesihatan, dan sudah tentu kita memerlukan media.
Dr. Zaliha said this after paying a working visit to Media Prima Berhad in Sri Pentas, Petaling Jaya, Selangor on Thursday. She also believed that without the media, any effort carried out by the ministry will not be fruitful and hoped that the visit reflects the ministry's willingness to work closely with the media, including Media Prima. Also present were Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Sri Dr. Said Hussein Al-Junaid, Media Prima Audio Chief Executive Officer Nazri Noran, Media Prima Omnia Chief Operating Officer Effendi Omar, Television Networks Group Deputy Editor of News and Current Affairs Azhari Muhyiddin, and NST Group Editor Farah Naz Karim. Meanwhile, Dr. Zaliha said the proposal to increase the allocation for public health spending will be discussed during the tabling of the Health White Paper in Parliament next month. The Health Minister also said the ministry will continue discussions with the Finance Ministry to increase the allocation to up to 5% of the gross domestic product GDP. According to Dr. Zaliha, current public health spending in Malaysia is at 2.9%, which is lower compared to other middle-income countries. She also noted that these equivalent countries have already reached rates of up to 5% of their GDP for public health spending. Dozens killed in Gaza as Israeli strikes continue. News from the foreign front when we come back. Israel continued its air attacks on Gaza on Thursday after 3 days of worsening violence that hit the coastal territory. The early morning Israeli airstrike in Khan Yunis on Thursday has killed at least 6 people, including a 10-year-old child, putting the death toll at 27. More than 70 people have been injured so far. The latest violence came a day after the Zionist regime strikes on Gaza killed 3 top Islamic Jihad fighters and 12 others, including 4 children, on Tuesday. Previously, it was confirmed by the armed wing of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad PIJ that the head of its missile unit, Ali Hassan Ghali, also known as Abu Muhammad, was killed by the Zionist regime, which it described as a treacherous Zionist assassination. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the civilian loss of life, including that of children and women, which he viewed as unacceptable and must stop immediately. A survey by the closely watched pollster Konda on Thursday showed that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan lagging his main rival Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu by more than 5 percentage points ahead of Sunday's presidential election. The survey put support for Erdogan at 43.7% and Kılıçdaroğlu from Republican People's Party on 49.3%, leaving him short of the majority needed to win in the first round, suggesting that the election would go to a runoff between the two men on May 28th. The result was largely in line with some other polls that put Kılıçdaroğlu ahead. The findings reinforced the impression that Erdogan faces the biggest challenge of his two-decade rule in the vote. Erdogan's task has been complicated by a cost of living crisis triggered by a lira slump and soaring inflation and a devastating earthquake in February, which killed more than 50,000 people in Turkey and left millions homeless. Pakistani authorities on Thursday took senior leaders of former Prime Minister Imran Khans' party into custody as the government calls for the army to help end widespread and deadly protests sparked by Khan's arrest. Authorities arrested Shah Mahmud Qureshi, a former foreign minister and vice chairman of Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI party early on Thursday, while two other senior PTI leaders were also arrested on Wednesday. The country's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, meanwhile, warned that those involved in violence would be given exemplary punishment and said the unrest by Khan's supporters had damaged sensitive public and private property, forcing him to deploy the military in the capital of Islamabad. Tensions on Thursday remained high in the nuclear-armed nation, with paramilitary troops and police on the streets in major cities. Long way to 40 gold medal target. Sports after this breather. Nightline. Back with the sports news now. The 32nd SEA Games. The national contingent bagged 4 more gold medals on Thursday, taking the tally to 25, 15 short of target. The latest gold medal came from the swimming event when Kelly Teo Yao won the women's 800 meters freestyle event. The other 3 came from the diving and athletics events. Enrique McCartney-Herald ended Malaysia's diving campaign in style by winning a gold in the men's 10-metre platform. The 18-year-old finished the sixth dive competition with 442.95 points, while teammate Bertrand Roddick gave Malaysia the silver with 384 points, ensuring Malaysia's domination as he wrapped up a clean sweep of all diving events. The bronze went to Max Lee of Singapore. In the athletics event, Irfan Shamsuddin clinched the men's discus throw gold medal for the sixth consecutive time. The 27-year-old hurled the discus to 57.83 metres to reign supreme again in the event, finishing ahead of Thailand's Kiat Pradit Srisai, who took silver with a throw of 51.89 metres, and his compatriot Bandit Singha Tongkul. Andre Anura Anwar followed Irfan's footsteps as he defended his triple jump gold medal. The Sabah-born athlete came out first by leaping to a distance of 16.06 metres to defeat two Filipinos, Ronnie Auxilio Mapilay, who came second, with Mark Harry Alotto Dionis completing the podium in third. In the last SEA Games in Hanoi, the 24-year-old won by recording a distance of 16.51 metres. In the meantime, Malaysia's hopes of winning a gold from badminton diminished when the men's team suffered a 1-3 defeat to Indonesia in the final. The Malaysian second stringers started well when Leong Jun Hao defeated Chico Aura Dwi Wardoyo 21-16, 21-13 in the opening men's singles match for a 1-0 lead. However, Indonesia won the next three matches, starting with Bagas Maulana and Muhammad Shohibul Fikri's win over Beh Chun Meng and Go Bunzi. Lee Shun Hang then lost to Indonesia's Christian Adinata, while Pramudia Kusumawardana and Yeremia Eric Yoshi Jacob Rambitan sealing the victory as they outplayed Chiao Wei Ji, Liu Zun 13-21, 21-16, 21-16. Meanwhile, Malaysia ended their SEA Games football campaign on a winning note after thrashing Singapore 7-0 in their final Group B match. The side led by E. Elavarasan were imperious from start to finish, with winger T. Saravanan impressing, scoring 4 goals in the 14th, 47th, 53rd and 60th minute. Hakimi Azim Rosli scored the 5th in the 45th minute. Skipper Mukhairi Ajmal Mahadi scored the 6th goal in the 87th minute, and Aiman Afif Muhammad Afizul scored the last goal in the 90th minute. The Harimau Muda ended their group campaign in third with 6 points. Coming up after the break, father fulfills his last responsibility to his daughter. Nightline. The 6-year-old boy who became a nationwide viral sensation after driving his parents' car for a distance of almost 2.5 kilometers before crashing the vehicle on Tuesday has been found capable of operating a vehicle. According to Langkawi District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Shariman Ashari, the child was well versed with the functions of the accelerator pedal, gear shift mechanism and the brakes on the car, which he demonstrated to the authorities during the investigation. ACP Shariman said the investigations concluded that the boy does understand the car's accelerator and gear functions. He said the boy also knows how to start the engine of the car and had demonstrated this to the police. He added that the minor also knew how to release the car's parking handbrake and is even capable of reversing the car. Furthermore, he said when police checked the dashcam recording, it showed that the driving was a bit erratic, with the car either swerving into the opposite lane or to the left and right. ACP Shariman confirmed that police had interviewed the boy on Wednesday at the Langkawi Traffic Police Station when his parents came forward to have their statements recorded. In the late Tuesday evening incident, it was reported that the boy sneaked out from his home in Kampung Padang Mengkuang with his 3-year-old brother. Their father was asleep while their mother was in the bathroom when the boys left the house in a Toyota Vios. It is understood that the boy took to the wheel as he wanted to drive to a shop located about 5 kilometers from his house, but had crashed the vehicle halfway into the trip. Meanwhile, ACP Shariman brushed off claims that the boy was able to operate the vehicle due to the possible involvement of mystical elements, as had been circulated on social media. In Perak, a man was killed in an accident while sending his daughter to school on a motorcycle at Jalan Persekutuan Ipoh, Kuala Lumpur in Mu'alim on Thursday. The victim, identified as 26-year-old Muhammad Asri Sharul Nizam, died on the spot due to severe injuries. District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Hasani Muhammad Nasir said the victim's 6-year-old daughter, Putri Hanamia Malaika, who was riding pillion, also sustained injuries on both her hands and left foot. In the 7:12 a.m. incident, the victim's Suzuki motorcycle crashed into the rear of a Proton Persona driven by a 44-year-old woman when the car was changing lanes. Initial investigations found that the woman, who is a teacher, was heading to Slim River from the Ketoyong Farm National Tamil School when the crash occurred, causing both the victim and his daughter to be thrown off from their motorcycle. Both victims were then sent to the Slim River Hospital, while the driver of the car escaped unhurt. The case is currently being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Well, as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at this Jordanian man who has been collecting discarded household items such as air conditioners and televisions to create artistic installations, which he then displays outdoor. His creations, which include huge monster truck installations, sit on an empty plot of land in his hometown of Zarqa, where people can visit them for free. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you later.